Hey YouTube, I clipped this just to show off my thoughts on some upcoming content. If you want to check out the full video, please check it out in the card to the right. Otherwise, enjoy this short piece. Drop a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Alright, let's get started. Beatrix Lost Chapter. Beatrix is getting level 80, rework, and an LD. Her rework gives her a splash on Thunder Slash, her skill 2, is it? I don't remember which order her skills are. And you get another extra skill 1, which is Saint's Cloth, and it gets another hit. So she already has a hard time running out of abilities with her skill recovery on EX. Yeah, that's right. And now she has an LD as well and an extra skill 1. She's just never going to run out of skills. You pretty much spam Thunder Slash with her just infinitely. Her call is does her S1, skill 1, Saint's Cloth. It buffs the party. If she is purpled, and I think she is actually the first call ability we're getting where that applies buffs if you have buff start. So if she has buff start, she'll come in and apply the buffs to the party, and then the actual call applies them anyways. But let's say if you do have her EX maxed, then it will apply. I think it's the Saints, whatever her skill 1 buff, it'll apply that as well because that's on her buff start. Blah blah blah. Just more benefits if you max your characters and your calls. You know what I mean. And the LD, it makes her a dispeller. Her LD dispels all buffs on use, and it gives the party HP regen for 12 turns. The debuff it applies to the enemies is a stat plus attack down, and whenever Beatrix attacks someone with this debuff, I think it's called Rose of May or something, it'll trigger up a follow-up after Beatrix attacks. She does a Brave gain, dispels one buff, does some Brave hits, HP attack, and the resulting battery to the party is based on how much damage she does. Vanille is also getting her character boards. We're closing in on the last amount of character boards that are coming to the entire cast, besides Lost Chapter people, I should say. The Elufenia is a Dispel Orb. The orb goes up by 10 when a single buff is dispelled. It's immune to HP Silence, Heavy Dark Resist, so Leon and Shintoto are going to suffer a bit here. That's a pretty nasty fight. I'd put it in the same league as the 3 crazy Lufenias we had this past month. Beatrix gets a bad rep on this fight for not being the best, and I tend to agree because the bosses buff themselves with 6 buffs at one time. And if you use Beatrix's LD to get her debuff back up so she can follow up and subsequently debuff, then if all their buffs are cleared at the same time, that makes it hard to maintain the orb. Because if they don't, you're really in the hands of the AI at that point. I think Cloud is a much better choice with his World of Illusions. And again, Max's World of Illusions weapon, Crimson Edge, in the weapon shop if you don't have it already. It's almost pretty much required for Cloud at this point. I think the game assumes you have it. He dispels 1 buff at a time, which is much more manageable. And I think all the people who dispel, I mean, Beatrix is still good for it. These bosses do a giant double tap AoE. And actually, this AoE is actually so strong that it can kill Bosch. Yeah, it double taps and it drops your HP so far. Ugh, it hits hard. If you don't deal with that, maybe like Pyramid or something, or some extreme form of HP mitigation, you'll probably just die. That's it's not fun. JP side, when I did this fight, I ran Beatrix, Cloud, and Reno. I think I actually recorded this too, and I was able to run it offline with Beatrix, Cloud, and Camelot as well. Attack down stacking is fun. Geo side, I should say, I think I'll run Cloud, Reno, and Warrior Light. See how that goes. Warrior Light shields get torn apart. Maybe I'll run Kieran. We'll see. For the challenge, Cloud destroys it. Shouldn't be too bad, provided you have him and others with EX. JP side, I did Cloud Burst with Vanille 1 out of 3, and I did have LD Beatrix, but spoiler alert, I'm not planning to pull on her. I do have her EX though, so maybe I'll purple her, but I won't get her LD. I might do that just to kind of coast with the challenge quest if it gets more difficult. Pulls. Let's see. Like I said, I'm skipping Beatrix. I actually didn't really use her at all outside of Synergy. I didn't like how she feels. I think, honestly, she's kind of mediocre. I don't know if that's a hot take or not. A lot of my buddies who I talked to about Beatrix don't have great feelings on her as well. Just out of Synergy, her damage isn't great. She has that debuff, not debuff, dispel utility, but the amount of times we need a dispel actually isn't that much. She takes up a lot of buff slots. She's locked to the thunder element, but she doesn't imperil it at all. And honestly, she just feels a little clunky to me. Having the paladin's protection can be nice in certain scenarios, but I just had a really hard time justifying bringing her on the team. She has great utility, great HP regen, solid damage, solid auras, all that good stuff, and party battery with her LD follow-up. It's just I'm just not really feeling her kit. I never really felt like she was necessary for anything. If anything, she's just good on Dispel Orbs. So now going into my opinion on her in the future. Really, the only time I could feel like pulling her out was Dispel Orbs, but don't let my dislike of her kit convince people that she's worthless. I don't think she's that great. I wouldn't advise anyone to pull on her, but if you're interested in Beatrix, super go for it. She's plenty viable. Like I always say, I love seeing people's creative runs, seeing how things work that I can't think of because I'm not that great of a player. Plenty other better players out there than me. She's plenty viable. Thunder Orbs, buff orbs like Diablos. Well, Diablos has a weird element absorb condition, so not quite, but HP regen orbs and Dispel Orbs are really where she'll shine. Other just attack down stacking, or whether you need to stay alive, Beatrix will be good as well. Her Lufenia armor is the Brave Gain armor, which is still a 5% gain. Hold off on that unless you really like her. It's going to get reworked down the line, so her batteries don't start sucking. But yeah, you could probably hold off on getting her armor if you're interested in her. And again, good luck on the Lufenia. I know I'll be needing it. Bring a Cloud friend. If you have Cloud's Burst, put him up as a friend because he'll be very, very helpful for this fight. Honestly, all the fights in the cycle. But yeah, that's Beatrix. Alright, hope you enjoyed the clip. Please drop a like on this video and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Please be sure to check out the full video in the card, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.